Juries don't like liars. Trials are about credibility.
Blake Lively recently received, shown to have bribed not just the media, but even making an effort to sway judges. In court.
So I did. It's for sale in my Etsy store. I'll leave a link below if you're interested in the 1,000,000% t-shirt.
She even exerted pressure, damaging testimony in court, proof to support her fictitious victim. Take action.
If they find that she just was dishonest and lied on one single point of evidence, in this case, in her testimony, the jury instruction says that they are allowed to discount her entire testimony.
However, now that the truth is known, Blake Lively will inevitably fail. The biggest calamity in Hollywood right now, you'd believe. Her career reached a low point with her rigid performances as well as that awful rhythm section film, although she doesn't have excavated a hole that was even deeper.
It seems insurmountable. It seems like this case cannot be settled.
Forget about poor behavior. Options. This time we're discussing complete corruption, bribery, and being exposed as a criminal in court. You are aware of how celebrities typically obtain. Yes, Blake attempted that. Get rid of everything. However, her performance was so poor that even the judge had to point out the absurdity.
Her testimony won't even count. And that is that's a harsh reality, because if the jury chooses not to listen to anything she has to say, she's the best witness in this case.
Her action against Justin Baldwin is a comedian who consistently becoming more humorous, but now we have claims that she and her group attempted to buy off the judge in order to conceal damning evidence, and believe me when I tell you how. You'll question if she's desperate, never planning to publicly display her face. Once more,
testimony is super important in this case, and if you can show the jury that she's lied, juries don't like liars. Trials are about credibility.
Judge Lyman, who has obviously simply had enough of this bullshit, referred to this dispute as a PR firm war rather than a legitimate case. This is a group of Hollywood bees. Yes, picture being so brazenly manipulative that a magistrate must call out your circus in public.
Trials are about the truth, and juries want the truth, and if you lie to them, they will hold it against you.
However, let's go back to how we arrived when Blake threw for the first time her lawsuit while playing at Baldoni, the part of the innocent victim, since she was making a new Nicholas Sparks film she claimed to have evidence of, swore that Baldoni was the original, the century's villain.
And that's why you think, like you mentioned before, that you think this video is the most damning evidence that Baldoni has so far.
I think so. And it's better than words.
However, a plot twist revealed her to be a liar. She rewrites history. So what does she do? Similar to a high school pupil who neglected to complete their article, she modifies important details, provides additional fluff, and all of a sudden we have a entirely new case that appears more as a poorly written screenplay as opposed to a legal document, huh?
Number two, the SH has nothing to do with taking over the movie, even though she doesn't deny that she took over the movie. Of course, it'd be probably impossible to do that.
This 180-page complaint has been revised. Let that soak in. For the most part of this kind, no more than 20 to 25 pages. Blake's group suggested that we make this a unique, since when you have no actual, what do you do with the evidence? Do you bury the less than 180 pages? And I hope no observes that this was not a lawsuit, but rather a PR gimmick on steroids. If you go, the majority of it is merely media manipulation under false pretenses of legal claims.
Okay, so I was able to read the amended complaint, which, by the way, it's very abnormal. It's almost 180 pages, 400 and some odd paragraphs. Complaints are not normally that long, but this one has to be for public consumption.
Her whole intended to provide the public with a variety of outrageous bullshit in the hopes that the headlines would do harm prior to the. She was surprised when the truth caught up with her. Surprise. The truth quickly came to light. She possessed one primary piece of alleged proof of a dance scene in a video that she cursed that it was terrible, unsettling, and complete evidence for her assertions.
So it kind of makes them look like they're trying to take that video now that it's out and kind of spin it in a different direction.
She desired for everyone to think she was distressed and coerced into doing anything awful. But then the complete unedited. You can guess who she was from the leaked footage. Grinning, taking part, and completely cozy.
Blake Lively had changed some stuff up in her amended complaint. Now she is describing that dancing scene very differently than she did in her first complaint.
Legal professionals ripped her allegations apart right away. The plan was hovering directly in front of her PR team, and eyes most likely began to perspire profusely at this point, when the true desperation set in.
Blake Lively made, and she lied in their minds about what occurred during that dancing scene because she wasn't aware that there was audio that would maybe explain and give some context to what was happening there. So of course she changes her in her amended complaint. She changes the view of it a little bit.
She alters her story once more, as it was obvious that one wasn't enough first. She claimed she was compelled to enter an awkward moment, followed by the video, shown that she was completely at ease. She abruptly asserted that Baldoni wasn't in personality, and she was being compelled to pretend to like him.
Really what they did is they said, well, yes, all of that happened, but when Baldoni was in that scene dancing, he wasn't in character, and she was being forced to act as though she loved him, which is, in my mind, just acting.
Let's take a moment to. I understand how foolish that sounds. Consider bringing legal action because you had to perform in a film that is essentially your job. What will actors do next? Begin bringing legal action against directors because they disliked their co-stars. I was forced to. In the script, act as though I adored him. Is illegal, no girl, and that's your salary.
And so rather than saying that these horrible things happen, now they're saying, well, no, yeah, but she didn't want that, and he wasn't really in character, and it wasn't within the context of what it should have been. So they're trying to skew it kind of a different way.
Right now, point even after the legal analysts finished. You can tell a case against her is terrible when lawyers are having a hard time not laughing. As they were talking about it, one of them pointed out that if you lie to judges in court, truly had the authority to inform the jury, to totally ignore your whole testimony that indicates only one lie, and all of your other statements might be discarded.
Number 4, the smear campaign designed by Baldoni's team was intended to derail the SH claims that Lively brought later in time, which seems a little odd to me.
Blake Lively, she didn't just make a single falsehood, she created an complete fictitious lawsuit against them. If this, she's toast when she gets to trial.
Her bad press came in early August, and yet the complaint to the CRD didn't happen till December 20th.
And this is where it becomes worse. Rather than acknowledging defeat, Blake attempted to act like a typical person, going one step further, like when you possess no credibility, no case, and no dignity left, the wisest course of action is to buy off the judge.
Lively's PR firm begging to be let go of the case. I think actually they may have the worst messages of all.
Her legal team, unexpectedly, argued for a concept known as an only EO protection in the eyes of the attorney. For those who cannot speak, place your order now. Legal simplicity, which implies that merely the attorneys, not Blake or Baldoni, they would be able to observe a few important documents and messages. Let us sincerely, there is just one reason why you would request this in order to conceal something explosive, but it becomes much more dubious. Someone with knowledge of the situation made a shocking revelation that there were 100 million explanations for why Lively's group was so anxious to preserve this knowledge concealed, which is a significant sum of money and a extremely dubious word choice, 100 million reasons, which sounds a lot like a bribe. Does it not give Lyman credit? Didn't believe it. He essentially said, yeah, nice try, to her squad. However, he did remind them about the courts, service the general public, and there are want to reveal the truth in other. He wasn't going to allow some wealthy rewriting the law as an actress because she wishes to keep her dark secrets hidden.
If they find that she just was dishonest and lied on one single point of evidence, in this case, in her testimony, the jury instruction says that they are allowed to discount her entire testimony.
And, Blake, let's discuss the irony here. Ryan Reynolds and others were the ones who began working for this media circus, painting with the New York Times, themselves as victims, but the second things begin to go against them, all of a sudden, they desire privacy, desire preferential treatment in court because, too, of Blake Lively's celebrity status. Team even made a court argument that since of their prominent position exposing these records may result in irreversible. What is the only irreversible injury, girl? This is your reputation. Next is attorney Brian Freeman, who refused to accept it and clapped back, claiming that just because they are famous does not imply that their laws are different. Translate Blake Lively, please have a seat. Hollywood isn't the courts, so you don't get to purchase a happy ending. Her case is. Her credibility is in the ruins, gutter, and she's attempting to manipulate the legal system in order to prevent more embarrassment. But guess what? The judge already knows the truth, therefore it's too late. Recognizes the deception that the media is turning against her, regardless of how. False lawsuits or PR cover-ups are common bribes. She tries, but she's lost already.
Because jurors are very bright, especially collectively. When they're all together, they all come from varied backgrounds. They're the smartest people in the room collectively, and they generally get the right result.
The breakdown of Blake Lively in this case is getting to the next level. Incredible amounts of. Initially, she was caught lying out of desperation. She tried to alter reality after lying, with a 180-page work of fan fiction masquerading as a court filing, and now she's attempting to bribe the law enforcement method to hide her whereabouts when you're losing this severely. The only remaining spending money on the issue, and I hope it goes gone, and I'm right, what she attempted.
Yeah, and you better hope that these HR complaints are genuine and credible. There's some credibility to them, because if we do learn that these were brought about by Blake Lively and her team, it's just going to compound already all the other bad facts that they're dealing with.
Blake's group pushed for the eyes only AEO of an attorney protection order, which I will now violate. Down for you people who don't spend your leisure time spent examining legal gaps. When an AEO order is issued, only the lawyers, not Blake or Baldoni even, themselves might view important documents and messages, the reason being that Blake Lively is concealing something so explosive that she is attempting to make incriminating. No one will ever see it, so don't judge Lyman, who now is most likely regretting his whole legal profession saw through the deed and essentially stated, "Nice attempt, but that is not how the law operates." According to Flat Out, there is a public curiosity about the usage of courts. You can't simply remove your translation errors because to your fame and wealth, Blake, but things improve with Blake's attorneys evidently struggling to make ends meet. That making some text public would lead to irreversible damage. What does that even mean? Cause irreversible harm to Blake Ryan Reynolds, the whole feminist propaganda apparatus that supported her. And if it's, why would a judge allow it to be that bad? Concealed.
I think they probably won't listen to any experts or advisors or lawyers at this point. It doesn't sound like this because they make so many mistakes and bad decisions.
Let's not act as though we are unaware of what is happening. Here, Brian Freeman, a legal expert, Lively's team was completely annihilated, claiming that there isn't an other set of regulations for. Indeed, Blake and her people are celebrities. I really believe that the elites of Hollywood reside in a cocoon where, everywhere, they receive preferential treatment. Their PR teams are shielded by the press, alter history to suit their interests and financial gain, removes them from any predicament. So now, when a judge says no to them, you are not allowed to create your own rules. Going insane.
And it's only to try to take back the narrative that that Baldoni's team has done a very good job of. And perhaps the reason they've done such a good job, the Baldoni's team, is because they have more truth on their side than perhaps Blake Lively does.
And the bribery angle begins here. Seemed to be a very real source near. The case revealed shockingly that there are explanations for why Lively's group desires. These messages concealed $100 million. That's not merely a generalized exaggeration. That sum of money is really specific. Someone made reference to this extremely dubious attempt to censor evidence. What that indicates to us is that Blake's group may be doing more than merely pulling legal ploys. They could be taking their wallets out to make issues vanish.
Or you could get into it and just get completely obliterated, because lawsuits are not pleasant. But it sounds like you have grounds to file a lawsuit.
If accurate, this complete judicial corruption? Is not merely a legal drama from Hollywood. This is simply paying for legal fees. Protection paying to continue damning. Blake Lively's evidence secret isn't only she is a bad criminal as well as a bad actor. Boss. And let's face it, what's in them terrible messages, because if your evidence paints you as a, would you not want everyone to see you victim? If you weren't pleading with the judge too, you wouldn't be hiding if you could make it disappear. Behind the law, technicalities.
It really is an impactful and powerful piece of evidence that's going to go against Lively, and that's why her deposition is not going to be pretty.
Blake Lively obviously has a lot. She has more to lose than she's admitting. You thought her PR disaster was over. Couldn't get worse despite her team's efforts. Enter Hollywood with yet another crazy stunt. Secret witnesses were revealed by reporters. So, apparently, 2 actresses without names are purportedly prepared to provide testimony against Baldoni. May sound dramatic, but this is. The catch was that they omitted their names in the case.
There were 2 new women who were willing to testify against Baldoni that they have been allegedly felt uncomfortable on set, but they didn't name them. But now it's already kind of leaked who they are.
Yes. Think about having important witnesses who are so amazing, so strong, so vital that they don't even formally belong to the legal analysts for the case phoned right away. This as questionable, if these. Why keep witnesses if they were genuine, unidentified?
And so it's not just a lawsuit, it's a PR campaign. The fact that they didn't include the names, in my mind when I was reading it, made it felt like it wasn't real or it wasn't very credible.
This is what's truly taking place at Blake's. The PR team purposefully leaked these observers to exert pressure on Baldoni in the public opinion court. They're attempting to influence the media in the hopes that public indignation will cause the harm that
Her complaint is obviously incapable of a.
In fact, Hollywood Insider noted that several media outlets declined to operate a few HR grievances against Baldoni, since they appeared to be entirely made up and unverifiable, meaning that even the mainstream media, which typically consumes anything that depicts a famous man as this, couldn't be taken seriously by a villain.
Leaked HR complaints that was circulated around last week, and a lot of people commented on them. They were not picked up by the press because they looked quite suspicious.
As well as when the Hollywood, the same publication's reporter is pushing. Lively must reveal their own agenda. Evidence to attract attention. You are aware of the Cass is currently on life support. Blake's group is merely hurling trash at the wall in the hopes that something may stick. But nothing is the only thing they do when they move. Makes them appear worse, but stay with them. Believed that no dumber could be obtained from this. Reconsider, as Blake's public relations team has formally ran out of genuine charges. Consequently, they accuse Justin, the toxic positivity Baldwin.
This is insane. What are you talking about? She genuinely is not aware of how insane she sounds.
I'm not making this up, I promise. This isn't The Onion. This isn't satire. This is a legitimate legal dispute that the LA. A hit article in the Times on former employees said that Baldoni was overly kind, but it was a joke. According to one worker, it was performative and seemed fake. So it seems that if you're too kind at work, it's illegal, and he has one complaint now. Requested staff members to sign emails using much love. He filmed another complaint, himself providing homeless people with clothing. Yes, folks, this is where we are. The most desperate PR campaign in Hollywood in the past.
Right now, both sides are under strict orders to kill each other, and that's what's happening. Both sides are trying to kill each other, and right now, Baldoni's team is winning, hands down. Public opinion is completely behind him.
This catastrophe was roasted by Candace Owens, stating, "Consider a world where someone who is overly joyful may be sued. Imagine your entire career at work being damaged because it was disliked by someone you were overly happy at work at." Lively's case isn't even at this point. This isn't going apart. It's imploding. No longer a scandal. This is straight up parody.
While Team Blake Lively may think they have the upper hand, sources say she has no idea what's coming regarding her battle with Justin Baldoni.
They began attempting to portray Baldoni as a predator that didn't work, so they attempted to claim that he was too strong and failed at the time. They attempted to claim that he was so joyful that Blake failed even more severely at this point. Lively's bribing has run out. Her plan failed, and her phony witnesses are. Her desperate slander campaign and a joke has made her a laughing joke.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, they need to listen to their lawyers, and they need to resolve this case if possible.
Blake Lively's proficiency in the government is becoming desperate. Levels of conspiracy at this time. The woman stopped attempting to buy off the courts to introduce real exia agents to resolve her PR crisis.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have hired former CIA agents with a proven track record of lying to the public, gaslighting the public.
Yes, you did read that. Correct. Blake Lively employed a former Operation Intelligence to tidy up her mess. When you're in the judicial system, this is serious. The same strategies employed in strategy to conceal government secrets. Operations, you are aware that the plot has been lost.
You're basically saying you're a liar. You misrepresent who you are in the court of public opinion. They've lost.
However, this isn't about justice, let's face it. This has to do with managing the story. Blake Lively is not involved in a legal battle. Reality is something she's fighting, and when you have no defense, no credibility, and no. In fact, the only remaining choice is to adopt a Hollywood technique and revise the narrative with the assistance of some of the greatest. The existence of deceptive public relations businesses.
Because not only could it be not good for the legal case, it's going to be an absolute nightmare for the PR side. And so I think the sooner that they can kind of figure out a path out of this, the better.
What is the amount of money? She really spent money on this. Here, PR professionals are able to make disasters disappear, implying already that the elites of Hollywood utilize these companies to eliminate negative press reports and promote misleading narratives. And you know what? It's not even functioning. Leslie Sloan PR is the company in charge of managing Black's reputation, attempted to withdraw from the legal action on your own PR firm's poor performance. Is too ashamed to be connected to you.
There's a lot of comments that she puts in here that you're just like, why would you want to take over someone's movie? The outfits in this end are so out of touch. No, we don't want to watch bullies like Blake.
PR agencies exist to tidy up the messes of celebrities? No. Regardless of how awful they are, these are the individuals who ensure Hollywood's most controversial and filthy secrets never see the daylight. Yet even they were like, nope, we're leaving because this is so poisonous. The case has even become more professional. Those that lie don't want to be discovered in the crossfire.
That's insane and that's crazy. And this is a reason why I think in the future people are just not going to work with her, because it's starting to add up. People are realizing that this is a pathology.
However, the actual query is what? What is Blake attempting to conceal? Already aware of her manipulation of the media from the start and the most convincing evidence. The whole cause is the New York Times. This lawsuit made headlines due to a SAB article in the New York Times. Blake is portrayed as the victim in the story. All of a sudden, one of the strongest publications worldwide that are pressuring her Story, word for word, it was nearly too easy, and then the judge arrives. Let's face it, Lyman has had enough. He pointed out Blake's absurdity, discovering that the whole lawsuit was pointless. However, this translation is a PR gimmick. Lawsuit isn't genuine, it was made for headlines. This isn't a courtroom. Ryan Reynolds slithers onto the scene. Image taken while Blake is playing outside. Ryan Reynolds is the victim's employer, tugging strings behind the scenes such as a boss of the Hollywood mafia. Speculation is becoming more prevalent. Did Ryan and Blake make use of their industry? Influence to exert pressure on the court due to? It appears to be so, and let's not forget about the Taylor subpoena dispute. Swift's words are about more than merely Blake no longer.
I mean, it is weird how dumb they think the public is. Like, what do you mean? Why on earth would you be allowed to see every single message that someone has sent for 2.5 years, predating?
Something significant is concealed in those communications and lawful. According to analysts, Blake and Ryan will stop at nothing to maintain their control. Raps, let's now see why. Would the messages from Taylor Swift be pertinent to this situation unless they have anything that may blow the? This exposes the whole Hollywood facade. Is more than merely keeping Blake's reputation in days, it's about protecting the biggest names in Hollywood from publicity. And if you believe Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively refused to make a sacrifice, all of their credibility to maintain their, you have not been in the industry's secret safe. Paying attention, however, the issue is, unfortunately, Blake Lively's. The case is disintegrating more quickly than her career.
They're PR agents. What are you talking about? You're just looking for stuff so you can embarrass them, so you can know things about them. I would never in a million years be like, yeah, you can subpoena every single text message that I have with my sisters and my friends.
She made so many changes to her story that probably not even her own legal team does. No longer know what's true. She was apprehended with falsehoods so blatant that the magistrate in court, he essentially rolled his eyes, and she is currently in full-blown terror, attempting to hide evidence and destroy her errors and put this lawsuit on hold before it utterly destroys her. Yet there is no way out of this brutal reality. If the court rejects her AO request protection, then each and every message, email, and proof that she has been attempting to conceal will become public. If that occurs, she will have to make a compromise prior to her deposition, since if she genuinely participates in a deposition and is trapped in a single inconsistency, the entire testimony may be excluded. And we already know she has lied on several occasions. Periods.
There's depositions, and she would have a videotape deposition, and we think that that would be horrible for her to actually appear for a videotape deposition in this case, meaning she has to hopefully resolve this case before then.
Legal professionals are already forecasting the outcome of this case in Blake Lively's catastrophe. She's either losing in the most embarrassing way feasible, or she will be coerced, in any case, into a desperate settlement. Her reputation, her career, and her. Already, their reputations are in ruins, and for the first time in the history of Hollywood, a famous person may actually have to deal with repercussions for their own mess, since, regardless of your level of fame, how strong your public relations staff is, and no, regardless of how much money you spend on a issue, the truth cannot be erased. Therefore, the corruption of Blake Lively just got exposed. Sign up now to get the complete breakdown.